Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Today I wanted to talk about a kind of more serious topic, I guess, and that is finding an identity outside of your chronic illness. I think when you first find out you're sick, you get the sigh of relief, right? Because it's like, okay, I'm not crazy, there is something wrong with me. And then you go online and you realize there's all these other people who have the same or similar things. It's great, right? Well, kind of. I think it's important for us to see representation of chronically ill people, whether that's in media, social media, whatever. But I'm a little concerned that some people let it take over their lives and their identity and have that be all that they are. Does that make sense? So let's take Instagram. And I'm not throwing shade here. I was the exact same way. When I first got diagnosed, I went crazy. I followed every chronic illness account I could find. I looked at them. I don't know. I watched them. I watched a lot of videos about it. But then I started to realize it wasn't making me happy. I was comparing myself to them. I was like, okay, they have a feeding tube, so I'm not sick enough. So how can I say that I'm in this community, right? Or their accusations of faking, or even even just seeing other people in the hospital, it makes you sad, right? Like, that's not a happy thing to look at. And so I started to realize that communities formed around illnesses can be toxic. And I'm not saying that anyone in particular is bad. I've just noticed there's this mindset of people, like I said, comparing themselves to one another or trying to call out fakers. There's literally a subreddit for that it's called chronic illness fakers or something. I've never been on it. I don't want to be on it. Or even just yourself looking at other people, you yourself comparing them. And then when all you see is people being sick, that's all you think about, right? And it feels like you're slowly slipping away, so that all that's defining you is your illness. And that's not okay. It's important to know that you're not alone in this, but it's also important not to lose yourself in this. And I think that's something that should be emphasized a lot more. It's why I started making other videos on this channel. It's called That Chronic Illness Life. Emphasis on the life, because I have a life outside of being sick, okay? I don't just, sit around in bed and moan. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. If you are stuck in bed, that's fine. But you need some sort of hobby or something else to occupy your time, because otherwise you're gonna lose yourself in the chronic illness spiral, I guess. And that's why I make D&D videos. That's why I make LARP videos. That's why I try to make things fun about fashion and lighthearted topics too, Because I think it's just too easy to get caught. And once you're caught, you're gonna start feeling like shit, I'm guilty of this. Like I said, I was following a ton of chronic illness accounts and I was feeling bad because it sucks to see people suffer. It sucks to see people maybe who have the same illness as you, but they don't present the same way. So then you start thinking, or at least I start thinking, oh, I must be lying. I must have just tricked everyone into thinking I'm sick. I'm not really sick because I don't look as bad as they do. So I must just be doing this for attention, right? And I'm not saying it's anyone's fault. It's just what happens. I guess what I'm trying to say here is if you're in a community of people with chronic illness or you're chronically ill, that's great. And that's great if you can find a support system from there. But just remember to keep yourself the way you are. By which I mean, don't let yourself get swept away by chronic illness. Don't lose yourself. And yes, I now have M&M's lose yourself in my head, but don't lose yourself to that wave of being sick. Someone I follow on Tumblr also mentioned that they don't like being in communities for their particular mental illness because forming friendships just based on an illness you have isn't necessarily gonna work. Just because you have the same illness doesn't mean you have personalities that are gonna click, And I think people try that, they try to do that, and then they feel disappointed as well. So basically, you're sick, and that sucks. And it's great to see representation, but remember to keep hobbies and identity and things to do and friends outside of all that, so that you're still a well-rounded individual and you're not just reduced to like a 2D representation of whatever illness you have. I hope that made sense. I came up with this idea at like 1 in the morning, but I really wanted to get it out there because I think it's really important for people to hear. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day, week, whatever, and I'll see you next week. Bye.